Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to my video. Doing another video on the PCM fuse. So if you guys have this issue where the PCM fuse keeps on blowing, there's obviously, if you guys have looked into it, there's a short somewhere, all right, that keeps on blowing the fuse. It could be a variety of things. Now, a lot of times, it's the fuel pump. I actually did a video on it as far as the PCM one fuse being blown. A lot of times, it's the fuel pump, but obviously the fuel pump is a lot more difficult to get to than other parts of the car that's under the hood. All right, so before you, um, well, I guess if you wanted to, you could take the cable off the fuel pump and then install a new fuse and see if that blows. If it doesn't blow, then it's probably the fuel pump that's the issue. Like if you have that new fuse in and it doesn't blow with the cable unattached to the fuel pump, then you attach the cable to the fuel pump and the fuse blows. If the fuse blows after, oh, I don't know, a couple of cranks, or if the fuse blows immediately, then you know that it's the fuel pump that's the problem. And if that is the case, then that's an easy troubleshooting diagnosis. But the fix to that is you'd have to change out the fuel pump. But there are a couple other things that could actually cause the PCM to the fuse for the PCM to blow. And troubleshooting that, if it wasn't the fuel pump that's the problem, and the reason why the fuel pump wouldn't be the issue is if your car runs. All right, normally if the PCM fuse blew and it's the fuel pump that's blowing it, you'd have no start situation. You'd have a crank but no start situation, being as how the fuel pump, the PCM portion of the fuel pump is the thing that's causing your fuse to blow. So it's not the fuel pump's not going to work. That's not always the case. Like I said, that's not always the case, because there's a lot of other scenarios that could be causing it. So in this video, I guess I'm gonna go down a couple other things that you guys could look at to make sure that you diagnose it as thoroughly as possible before actually taking out the fuel pump, swapping it out. Sometimes you might have to do that because a lot of times it is the fuel pump that's causing it. So a lot of times you might have to do that. But other things that could be causing it, you would want to make sure that the cable that's connected to the fuel pump, you want to make sure that it's not that the wire is not sticking out, meaning that that the wire on the fuel pump, particularly the positive line, isn't in any way damaged or scratched up, or having the plastic covering come off. And then if the plastic covering comes off, obviously if that positive line hits any portion of the metal of the vehicle, and any portion of the metal of the vehicle would be considered ground, that would actually cause a short. So you want to check the wires, obviously, to make sure that the cables aren't broken in some way, where the wire itself, the metal portion of the wire itself is sticking out and it's hitting any portion of the vehicle. But if you guys want to troubleshoot some other things that could actually be causing your PCM fuse to blow, the master airflow sensor, all right, you guys want to check that portion out too, because it's the wiring that you guys want to check out. Okay, sometimes on older cars particularly, and a lot of these issues occur in Chevys and GMC trucks from 97 to 2007, which is a 10-year span. But apparently there's a bit of an issue with these vehicles from GMC and Chevy, GMC, Chevy, that has a lot of this issue where the PCM fuse constantly gets blown. So what you want to do is you want to check the mass airflow sensor. You're gonna go to the mass airflow sensor. What you're gonna do is you're gonna check the wiring. All right, you want to check the wiring to make sure that the covering of the wires that they're covered and not broken off. Like, you don't want to see the wiring itself. Okay, it's got covered by a covering, obviously, like all wires are. That it's covered by a covering. It's covered by whatever it's covered by. You know, the plastic part that covers the wire. I think it's plastic, but you want to make sure that's not broken. That you want to make sure that the metal part of the wiring it's not exposed. So you want to double check that, okay? Because if the positive line to the mass airflow sensor is exposed, there's always brackets, you know, in the area of these vehicles, and those brackets are mostly metal. All of them are metal, actually. So and any metal part that's connected to the frame of the car becomes a ground. So if that wire that's exposed, that's no longer covered by the plastic layer, if that actually hits any of the metal piece of the bracket, you know, it's gonna cause a short. It's gonna cause a short, which actually will cause a fuse to blow, PCM fuse to blow. It'll cause fuses to blow, but it will definitely cause the PCM fuse to blow, because all these sensors, the mass airflow sensor, you know, O2 sensors, even the starter itself, fuel pump, they are, you know, managed by the PCM, the ECU, ECM. It's all managed by the car's computer. So if any of those sensors, you know, any of those things has like a short, obviously it's gonna blow the fuse, the PCM fuse. All right, so that's one thing to look for. There was another occasion where I gotta tell you, trying to figure out you know, why you know, the PCM fuse keeps on blowing. It's a little bit complicated, being as how you'd have to actually figure out exactly what portion of the line of which sensor or starter or a fuel pump or O2 sensor. You know, you gotta see where that short is, and trying to figure out where that short is could be a little bit complicated, because there's so many wires in the vehicle, particularly modern day vehicles. But even around 97, 2007, there's a lot of wires. Obviously, there's a lot of wires, but just keep in mind that if your PCM keeps on blowing, it essentially means that there's a short somewhere. All right, there's a short somewhere. I mean, the short could be inside the fuel pump itself, the plug that connects to the fuel pump that gets inserted into the tank. That could actually short. That could, you know, many instances you could take out the fuel pump and you could see that plug and it'll be burnt, which is very, 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 very dangerous, considering it's gasoline. It's gasoline. You don't want that to happen, because it could explode. It could catch on fire, obviously. And when gas gets on fire, you know, most people have like gallons and gallons of gas in the tank. It's just, I mean, just to think about it, it's just insane. But with the PCM fuse, you're gonna look for a short somewhere. You're gonna look for an exposed wire where the plastic covering is no longer covering the metal piece of the wire, and that wire is hitting some portion of the metal part of the vehicle, and that's causing the PCM fuse to blow. So so if you guys looking for an answer for why your PCM fuse keeps on blowing, just, you know, check out the wiring. All right, check out the wiring to the mass airflow sensor. Check out the wiring to the O2 sensors. Check out the wiring to the starter. Check out the wiring to the fuel pump. Check out the wiring inside the fuel pump itself. All right, just follow the wiring. All right, look at the wiring. Make sure that the sheath, I'm not quite sure what that's called, but the covering, if there's a cut, or if there's any of the wire that's uncovered or unprotected by the covering, if it hits any portion of the metal of your vehicle, it's going to cause a short, because you know, normally that's the positive line. Positive line hits the negative, and the whole entire vehicle is a negative ground. Hits that, it's going to cause a short. So if you think about it that way, when you're actually looking for electrical culprits, electrical gremlins, that's actually causing a situation. But anyway, hope this has helped you guys out with your, you know, trying to diagnose what your issue is as far as your PCM fuse blowing. If you have any comments, definitely leave a comment in the comment section. It might help somebody else out. Please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe, all that good stuff. All right, guys, take care.